I have the pleasure of working with a board chair who is dedicated to the job, highly organized, and whose passion for the industry is beyond question. She leaves it all in the field for her own retail business and for the leadership roles she holds in the industry. She and her husband also operate the best bed and breakfast in Rake, Iowa by far. So if you haven't been there, you need to go check it out. Please welcome our 2024-25 board chair, Amy Asmus.
Thank you, Darren. Haven't we had some exciting things so far? We've had some great people on the stage. We've been able to provide awards for some wonderful members, and not only members of ARA, but members of the industry. The speaker I kind of really related to was last night, Scott Mann. He was telling a story, and so we were talking a little bit afterwards, and he gave me an assignment. So we'll see how good you guys are. What color was my grandmother's suit? Those of you that said red, I don't know why you remember that, but that was 2 years ago when I got to take the stage, and I had the privilege to be lifted up to chairman of the board. And it has been a privilege. I can't believe it's been 2 years from that point. And I have another story I'm going to tell you guys to kind of lead you into the after Amy math. And that story's about my grandfather. So they had a river house in Omenro, Missouri, just south of St. Charles. It wasn't anything glamorous. It was on the Quiver River, and actually when they were trying to control the height of the Mississippi River, it would send floodwaters back through the Quiver, and so all the houses were on stilts. And we were down there helping Grandma and Grandpa after a flood, and we were picking up the sticks, and it was mucky, and it was gross. And my grandpa looked at me, and he said, "Oh, come on, little one." I was about 10 or 11 there. He said, "I'm going to teach you how to drive in snow." I looked around, and there was no snow in sight. But this was fun. I'm going to have a fun afternoon with my grandpa. So we get in the old International Travelall. We called it the banana boat. It was this big yellow thing with the wooded side on it. And I can barely reach the pedals. I'm sitting up. I'm holding on to the steering wheel, and I'm kind of reaching with my foot to do it. And he kind of tells me to pull it into the lot across the way. So I pull it into the lot, and he says, "Give her hell." So I take my foot, and I push it down, and I get that accelerator going, and holy shit. I was scared. This thing started fishtailing around, and I pulled my foot off the accelerator, partly because I was little one and I was sliding back in the seat and I could barely reach it in the first place, but mostly because I was scared. I had never been on the mud, and I'm fishtailing all around, and so I'm pulling my foot off the gas, and my grandpa reached over and he puts that thing to the floor, and we took off. And we're going this way and that, and I'm holding onto the steering wheel with my eyes closed, everything I had in me. And he just reached over calmly, and he steered it against the skid. We started the other way, and he steered it back the other way. And we safely made it to the road where we weren't going to slip anymore. Here I am, almost in tears. I'm shaking. I'm like, "Grandpa, why'd you do that?" Because we're going to learn how to drive today. So he pulls it back in the mud, and I said, "Why did you push the pedal to the floor?" He goes, "Little one, you need to understand that in this situation, you're not stuck until you stop. So you never take your foot off the accelerator." And I said, "But I couldn't steer. I had my eyes closed. I was scared." And he goes, "Didn't you see me reach over?" He says, "Whenever you're in a skid and you're out of control, you calmly steer into it." And so I thought, Cool. We got back on the mud, and after 4 or 5 times, I could actually drive that thing through the mud and get it on the road without getting us stuck. As I was thinking about this story, I thought, well, this is kind of old-fashioned, maybe. Who teaches people how to drive in snow anymore? So we're getting ready to come, and there's 10 to 12 inches of snow on the ground in Iowa, and we were heading up to the church so I could see my grandkids in their Christmas program, and we were waiting for our son Garrett and his wife and kids to come out of his driveway. We had pulled into the end of his driveway, which was really the only clean spot in the whole yard, and he's waving us back. I'm like, Harlan, you got to back out into the road. He wants us out of the way. And guess what he did? He put the pedal to the metal, he steered against the skid, and he got to that clean space on the driveway, and we took off and went. Why do I love this story? Let's talk about ARA. Since then, when I learned to drive, the industry has done a few things for us in cars, right? Front-wheel drive, anti-lock brakes. And those things help the people that get in a car and need to drive in adverse conditions. ARA does a little bit of that too. We call it our policy work. And there's times when we're in a sliding position, fishtailing all around, and we need to steer into that. And we have a wonderful policy team that can steer into that. And what they do, they help everybody that does what we're doing from this point on. What else did I learn? It's not always going to be easy driving. We're not always going to get on the road and have an unobstructed trip to wherever we're going. There are times when we're going to go in a tailspin. There's going to be times when we're going to be so scared that we want to take our foot off the gas. And the one thing that I remember about that day most of all is my grandfather was sitting next to me, and he wasn't going to let anything happen to me. And when we're in the industry, and you've heard from several speakers, some of the things that are thrown in our way, obstacles that we're going to have to deal with. And guess who's next to us? Everyone in this room. Every colleague we have out there in ag, every partner that we do business with, every mentor that has taught us things as we've come up through this industry, they're not going away. They're going to be right next to us. I'm not going to be at the helm anymore, and you guys are all going to be just fine. Because we've got a team, and we've got a group of people in this industry that are going to be by our sides. They're going to calmly reach over and help us straighten out our path, steer against the skid. And that's one thing I love about ARA and everybody in this room, is we're not in this alone. And no matter what comes at us, we've got people by our side that are either going to keep their foot on that accelerator so we don't get stuck, or that's going to calmly reach over and get us back on track. And that's my story. So now that I'm no longer going to be your leader, I would like to bring up Mr. Dave Spears. Dave has been pretty much by my side these 2 years, and when he's tried to run away, I pretty much grab him by the back of the neck and pull him back in because we can't do this alone. And you guys are looking at the next 2 years with a wonderful leader. He's got advocacy in his background. He's been on the Hill. He's got great leadership skills, and he's got the tools and the relationships to take you guys for the next 2 years. So I'm very proud to present the next chair of the Ag Retailers Association, Dave Spears. Here.
Let's do the rows between two doors.
Thank you very much, Amy. Before she departs, I have a couple comments and a gift to give to her. Amy talked about during this transition. For me, there's a wide range of emotions that are playing out over the next few minutes. For Amy, it's pride and relief. For me, it's, oh crap. But I want to personally thank Amy for my sincere gratitude for her incredible leadership and service to our industry over the past decade. She has set a high bar with her passion, her service, her dedication to our industry, and her unwavering commitment. She's been an outstanding chairperson. I personally want to thank her for her leadership, her service, and her friendship. So with that, Amy, thank you very much for your leadership. And here is a plaque recognizing your... Thank you. Thanks again, Amy. Knowing that I stand between you and lunch, I'm going to keep my remarks very brief. As I step into the role of chair, I'm very excited about the future of ARA and the opportunities that lie ahead. Over the next 2 years, my vision for ARA is to be a true forum for change. Amy talked about change. Now, we all know that change is hard. It's very difficult. But as the saying goes, change is the only constant in life. Given the current and expected state of farm economics over the next 12 to 18 months, I don't think anyone in this room doubts the need for efficiencies and innovation in our retail model. We must work together to ensure our freedom to operate and that our businesses remain competitive and resilient. Acting as an umbrella organization, ARA cannot dictate change, but it can. It can be a forum where transformation and innovation are addressed. In our day-to-day operations, we treat our customers as unique segments of one. I believe ARA should do the same for its members, recognizing and responding to the unique needs of each of our members. And at the same time, we can come together and collectively address the issues that face our industry. In that vein, ARA can truly fulfill its purpose as the voice of ag retail. Looking ahead, you're going to hear a lot about our upcoming planning session and the strategic initiatives that emerge from that in July of 2026. To kick off this process, we held 3 town hall meetings, as Darren mentioned yesterday, with our different customer segments, member segments. We used those meetings to gather input on what you consider most valuable from ARA. Your feedback is extremely important to us, and I invite you and encourage you to attend the planning session next July in Dallas. Your voice matters, and together we can shape the future of our association. ARA must continue to evolve and adapt to meet the changing needs of our members. Fortunately, we have an exceptional team in Washington, D.C., led by Darren. Having myself personally worked in and out of D.C. for the past 35 years, I can personally honestly say that there's no better team to represent you and serve the needs of ag retail. In closing, I'm honored to serve as your chair. I look forward to working with each of you as we embrace change, drive progress, and build a stronger future for ag retail together. Thank you very much.